Victor Wembanyama is in the middle of one of the greatest stretches of basketball we've ever seen.
A 27-point triple-double, 10 blocks, insane plays like this on a nightly basis that have Spurs fans dreaming about their future. It's been a torrid force for Wemby since the All-Star break.
A month in February where he alone had more blocks than 5 NBA franchises. A month that included a 12-game stretch of offensive and defensive production only seen in all-time great stretches from all-time great players, and all while those greats were squarely in the prime of their careers.
Facts, man. And right now, Wemby is just 20 years old. He's doing all of this in his first NBA season. I mean, it's crazy to think about just how hyped this kid was coming into the league and how he's exceeding expectations on every front 65 games in. Kind of reminds you a little somebody named LeBron James and how he lived up to the title of the chosen one.
All this forces me to ask one question. Is Victor Wembanyama having the greatest rookie season of all time?
At first, that question sounds a bit crazy. But as you start to dig into the numbers, man, you begin to realize that this might actually be facts.
But still, at the same time, comparing Wemby to other rookies is simply unfair. We're not going to make the lazy comparison looking at different players playing different positions in different eras and say who's best. But we can acknowledge that what Wemby's doing is flat out crazy.
Straight up, man. And throughout NBA history, there have only been 4 players ever to average 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks in their rookie season. I mean, the guys that we're talking about, none other than Spurs' own David Robinson, Alonzo Mourning, Shaquille O'Neal, and now Wemby. Can't make this stuff up.
The beauty in Wemby's game is that while he's the tallest player in the league, he doesn't always play like it. Take this stat, for example. How many players in their rookie season were able to put up 20 points, 3 assists, and 1 steal per game? There's only a dozen who've done it. Some of the noteworthy names being Donovan Mitchell, Luka, Allen Iverson, LeBron James, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, the GOAT. And again, Victor Wembanyama.
To be so productive at such a young age, it takes 2 things, man. Poise and a tremendously high basketball IQ.
You're right, man. Think about it. Even defensively, the craziest part about these monster numbers Wemby is putting up is that he doesn't foul. He could break the blocks record, yet he gets all these stops without bailing the opposition out.
And for those wondering what exactly Wemby's stat line for the season is, he's putting up nearly 21 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks, and a steal per game. That's a stat line that no other player has been able to post during their rookie seasons.
It's a chubby one, bro. To be fair to the field, though, there are some rookies who have come relatively close. We've seen guys that haven't had the rebounds or blocks, but you could very well make the argument they put up the same production with their scoring ability and passing.
But even if you get flexible with the numbers, the players that come up are far and few between. And the ones that do, they are the greatest rookies the NBA has ever seen. I mean, Magic Johnson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaq, Tim Duncan, who we alluded to earlier. Look at the players I just named. These are not just some of the greatest rookies ever. These are some of the greatest basketball players to ever touch the floor. Most of these guys are considered top 30 all time.
And ironically enough, out of all these rookie seasons, the player with the stat line closest to Wembanyama is another former Spur, David Robinson. We're talking about 24 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, almost 4 blocks, and a steal a game. But keep in mind, David Robinson spent 4 years in college, 2 years in the Navy, and entered the league at 24 years old.
And while Wemby has the advantage of playing professional a little bit early on, we cannot forget that he's been a teenager for most of his first year. All respect to Chet, who's having a great year, but Wemby right now, he's in a class of his own. Watching him play, there are 3 things that immediately jump out the screen. First and foremost, it's just defense, right? Defensively speaking, he's easily the best defender we've seen since Tim Duncan. He's leading the league in blocks, likely to become one of a few players that have ever made an all-defense team in their rookie year.
And what was really crazy is the on and off splits. The Spurs have been a top 5 defense with him on the court and the 4th worst without him. It's not just the numbers that say this, it's the eye test too. In terms of impact, Victor is already one of the top 10 defenders in this game. For someone that's 7'4", having the ability to move the way he does is unfair. the 8-foot wingspan that allows him to get his hands on literally everything. That man's a cheat code.
Facts. And how many times have we seen a player think he has an uncontested shot, and then Wemby legit comes out of nowhere and completely erases the shot? It doesn't only happen in the paint. He's altering shots and making things difficult for opposing players on the perimeter. The second thing I noticed is how far he's come. It didn't look pretty from the beginning. It was awkward, clunky. He wasn't sure if he should be out on the block like Duncan or on the perimeter like KD. But the way that he's been able to improve, show me that whatever his potential is, he's likely to hit it.
It's the reason why I've never been more confident a rookie will become a top 5 guy. Wemby made a most improved player jump in the middle of the season. Beginning of the year, he floated around the 3-point line. He was only really effective on putbacks and in transition around the rim. But he's gotten better every month and is now a much more mature scorer.
Yeah, man. And over the last 20 games, he's been an elite 3-point threat, shooting 40% from deep, with over half of those shots coming off the dribble. Something we've never seen from a big man before. But the most important part of his growth, it's the aggression. You can find it in any era of NBA basketball. Those that are physically gifted and know how to make their presence felt can dominate in this league. I mean, I don't got to mention Shaq. Wemby has the physical part and is just now starting to tap into his presence on the offensive end.
He's at the early part of finding who he is on the offensive end. But if that offense can catch up with his defense, bruh, the league's in trouble. The passing touch he's showing, the way he's already able to read defenses that are loading up against him and find the open man, we are looking at a future top 5 face of the league guy.
Yeah, it's easily the biggest takeaway so far this season. It's the fact that he's looking this good this early on. He's not even a situation that maxes out who he is as a player. For starters, Popovich ran Sohan out there as a point guard, even though there's nothing about Sohan's game per se that says he's a facilitator. He stuck with it for way longer than he should have.
Word, the Spurs only have one competent point guard on the roster, Trey Jones, and they've looked much better playing together. He would look great with a point guard there to set him up. He doesn't even have that, and he's doing all this. Also, the Spurs have kept Wemby on a minutes restriction, tighter than any other star player in the league. He's only played on average 29 minutes per game this season. That 27-point, 10-block performance did that in less than 30 minutes. Leading the league in blocks, he's doing that in less than 30 minutes. All those all-time great rookies we were comparing him to, Victor is hanging around in that company, playing in 8-10 less minutes per game.
I think the best way to describe our boy Wemby down in San Antonio is how you said it earlier. The dude is a cheat code. Speaking of making an impact, right? We got to talk about the good folks over at EvanAlexanderGrooming.com. When the hairline is low, when the beard is scruffy, when things ain't doing what they supposed to do, Evan Alexander's Grooming got the thing for you.
That's right. Don't neglect. Get on EvanAlexanderGrooming.com today. Use that promo code hoop_plug_ for a quick 20% off at checkout.
And with that being said, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. Put some flavor in your ear.
Peace.